And what happens when I add value to leaders? They multiply value to others.
Hi, I'm Chris Cody. I don't know about you, but I know that I love to absorb content. There's so much free content out there. However, one challenge that I do have is that I often struggle to then take that content and put it into practice. I don't change the habits that I need to based off of the video that I've been inspired by. If that's you, I want you to watch this video, and then I would love for you to comment, and we would love to hear your thoughts below.
Now, level 3, that's the production level, and the key word there is results, and people now follow you because of what you've produced, what you've done for the company. And at level number 3, you get momentum. And with momentum, most of the problems are solved in the company. Let's put it this way. With momentum, leading is a lot easier. That's why in a sports contest, if one team really gets momentum on their side, what does the opposing coach do? Calls a timeout. Now, why does he call or why does she call a timeout? It's very simple. They're trying to break the momentum of the other team. They're trying to get them out of that rhythm. So level number 3 is where momentum happens. Level number 3, the third thing that happens at level 3, just one more quick thing, is you attract better people to you because you produce. Let me explain it this way. Remember when I did in the beginning the law of the lid? And if you were a 5 leader with leadership competence, your company would be a 4. Okay, you got that. In the law of attraction, in my book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, this law of magnetism says you attract who you are, not who you want. Very true law. So here's what happens. If I'm a level 5 leader, I attract 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. What I don't attract to my team is a 9 or a 10. 9s and 10s don't follow 5s, never have, never will. But if I grow as a leader, I get up to a 6 and 7. Every time I grow as a leader, guess what? I attract a better person. So when you can produce, when you have the credibility of a person that gives results to your company, you're going to attract better people to you because it's like the little LeBron James illustration. People want to be on your team. Okay, so let's go to level 4. Now, level number 4 is really, this is the level I really try to get people to go to. I mean, I know there's 5 levels of leadership, but I am very happy if I can get you to level number 4, because level number 4 is the people development level, okay? This is where you develop other people. And the key word at level number 4 is reproduction, okay? Now, people follow you not only because of what have you done for the organization. They not only follow you because they like you, they follow you because of what you have done for them personally. Because now they're a better person because you are a people developer. In other words, they're saying, I can tell you right now, when I came to the company, man, I wasn't very effective at all, but they took me under their wings and they trained me and they equipped me, and now look what I can do. And by the way, great loyalty happens at level 4 because people now look at you and say, personally, you've bettered my life. At level 3, you bettered the organization, but level 4, I'm a better person because of you. So this is a terrific level to be on, and it's really how the company thrives. Because if I were to ask you, if I could, 2 questions about the success that you have and the success you want your company to have, the 2 questions I would ask you is, what are you doing to develop yourself? And that's why I love the theme that you have for it, Nat, of helping people become a better leader. I would ask you, what are you doing to develop yourself? And the second question I would ask you is, what are you doing to develop the people on your team? Now, when you develop yourself and grow, you add. When you develop others, you multiply. And that's the difference between levels 3 in leadership and level 4. At level 3, you're getting better, you're producing, but you're adding. You run with it. It's all yours. And now I'm coaching you. Now you're playing the game, and I'm tweaking you. I'm making you better. After you do that sales call, we sit down. I say, now, okay, let me give you a couple of observations, and I make you better. I make you better. And then step number 4 in that equipping process is you do it. I mean, there comes a time when I say, hey, it's yours. You got it. Now, here's where the equipping failure begins. Most equipping in most companies stops at step 4. I do it, you're with me. You do it, I'm with you. You do it. Well, once you do it, I say, okay, I've equipped them. But there's another step, and this is where the magic is in level 4 leadership. Step number 5 is they do it, and someone is with them. Simply stated, here's how this works. We never equip anybody who doesn't make a commitment to equip somebody else. So our equipping never stops with the person we equipped. It continues and reproduces itself on a multiplication level. Level 4 leaders, they recruit well, they position well, and they equip people extremely, extremely well. Now, I'm going to wrap it up by level number 5. I really don't need to teach level 5 because level 5 is automatic. You see, on level 1, the company gives you that. Levels 2 and 3 and 4, you earn. Level 5 is what I call the Pinnacle level. The key word at this level is respect. And at this level, people follow you because of who you are and because of what you've done. You truly now are bigger than life. And they look at you and they just say, you're an amazing person. This is where you begin to live a life of significance in your life and in the life of others. I happen to have one of my mentors was very well known, Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was the greatest management guru expert of the last century. And I had the privilege of sitting at his feet. And I'll never forget the last time we were together, he challenged me and he said, John, who are you mentoring? Who are you developing that can carry on the principles and the values that you love, embrace, and live out in your life? And he just challenged me again to make sure that I filled my life with mentoring. He challenged me in such a way is that I after that, I bought a painting, and it's in my office today, in my home office. And wherever I move, that painting goes with me. So it's been with me for a long, long time. And it's an incredible painting. It's not like a beautiful painting. It's not like an expensive painting, but it's a picture of an older brother with a younger brother right beside him, and he's teaching the younger brother how to draw. There you see the painting right before your eyes. And the reason you can see that painting is because I'm in Andrew's studio, and Andrew's absolutely the best, and I gave him that, and he put it up there for us. But can you see the older brother is doing the drawing, but look at the younger brother so intently watching. Now, here's what I know. The older brother gets great joy out of showing his younger brother how to draw. But that younger brother, he's going to draw faster and better than he would have if he wouldn't have had an older brother, a mentor, to come into his life and come alongside of him and help him. Malcolm Gladwell is a wonderful author and a terrific friend. And in his book, The Turning Point, he has a phrase he calls the law of the few. And the law of the few, he says, is very simple. It's the leverage that a leader can have in his or her life by investing in a few people. In other words, basically, he says there's an amazing return. There's an amazing return when you begin to pour your life and invest your life in just a few people. And I love that. And that's exactly how I started off in my life, just in a little country church, just investing in a few people. And I began to see the return that happens when leaders invest in other people. So what people say about me today is John Maxwell adds value to leaders, you. And what happens when I add value to leaders? They multiply value to others. And so I'm so excited to share with you a little bit about mentoring and the mindset. And again, all of you that are Maxwell certified team members, thank you. You made this possible for everyone to hear me today. Without you, no, well, I wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be here. But let me just say, the person that invited you to be part of this teaching right now, they did so because they value you and they have a real passion to invest in you and to mentor you and to take you to a higher level than you can go if you just do it by yourself. Remember this, one is too small of a number to achieve greatness. It just is. If you want to achieve greatness, you have to do it with others. So let's talk about mentoring. And one of the things I teach in mentoring is that the word mentor is both a verb, it's something you do, and it's a noun. It's something you are. And she said, I kept asking myself, what am I doing wrong? And at almost the end of the second year of her coaching, she said, John, I came to the conclusion that I was leading by assumption. That basically I was assuming that my girls on my team, they knew certain basketball basics. And so therefore she said, because I assumed I was coaching them from my thoughts and my perspective, not theirs. And I was missing them. And she said, I determined in that second year that I would find the girls first and find out where they are, and then I would coach them from where they are to where they need to go. That was a life-changing conversation with me because I thought to myself, and that's where I started making that shift. I said, I need to start making that shift. I need to, instead of assuming that my team knows these things, I just kind of need to ask questions and find out where they are. And then when I find them, then I can lead them. Let me close with this story. I think, Mark, I've talked a little bit too long. I'm sorry, but let me give one story. And then if you want to do some Q&A, however I can serve you, my friend, I'm glad to do that. I was having dinner one night with Gail Devers. You may recognize that name. Gail Devers is the most decorated female track athlete in U.S. Olympic history. She won medals in 3 different Olympics, which in track, speed, running races, that's not an easy task. In fact, the night that I was having dinner with her, I had a dinner with her and her husband. This is incredible. This amazing lady was trying out for the 4th Olympics, and she was literally running races against girls that were young enough to be her daughters. It was a wonderful evening, and she reads a lot of my leadership stuff, and so she had asked for some time, and so we were talking about leadership. So I thought I'd have some fun with her at the end of the game. So I said to her, I said, Gail, I've been thinking about this all dinner. I said, I think if we ran like a 100-yard dash race, I said, I think I could win. And she looked at me and she said, what do you mean? I said, well, what I mean is if we ran a 100-yard race, just you and me, I said, I think I could win. And she looked at her husband in total disbelief. She said, did you hear what he just said? And then she's looking at me. And of course, she's looking at me. And now I'm getting a little self-conscious and embarrassed because here I am. She's looking at the Pillsbury Doughboy, okay? And here's this well-honed athlete who's won all these. And there's this fat boy over on the other side of the table thinking he can win a 100-yard race with her. And I could see her competitive juices were just rising every second. She was ready to take off her shoes, go out in front of that restaurant. We were going to run a block, and she was going to make me eat dust. So I pressed her right to the end, and I'm just enjoying every moment, watching her just not even fathom that I'd say something so stupid. So I got it right where I wanted to, and I said, Gail, let me just say one more thing. I said, because I've been thinking about this all evening. I said, I am confident that I could win a 100-yard race with you if you gave me an 80-yard head start. Well, she sat back. She started laughing. Well, of course, she said. Oh, sure, if I gave you an 80-yard head start, of course I could do that. And by the way, I thought all evening about the 80 yards. I I really wanted to say 70 yards. I did. I thought, but I wasn't sure I could have a 70-yard head start and win that race. And what leaders do is leaders understand that change is so essential for the growth of an organization, for the growth of a person. Many, many years ago, I'm talking about I would have been in my early 30s, and I was sitting at a restaurant having lunch with a mentor of mine in Pasadena, California. And that day we were talking, and he took a napkin and he just took up his pen, and on a napkin he wrote these 3 words: change equals growth. That when you change, it's the only way, the only vehicle, only possibility of bringing growth into your life. Without change, it's impossible to grow. And that day we had a long lunch, and he talked to me about the importance of change and the importance of how personally it would help me to grow to be the person that I would like to become. But he said, John, you're a leader, and in your organization, again, your ability to help people make positive changes in their life is just going to really grow your organization. So that day, he taught me as a leader how to know when people are most prone to change. Because he talked to me about how change is important and timing is important. And he shared with me 4 things that day. I share them with you quickly. This is not the heart of the lesson. I'm just kind of laying the foundation for how we leadership change correctly and do it right. But he said, John, as a leader, he said there are 4 times that people change. He said they change when they hurt enough that they have to. And we've all been there. We've all been in the situation where we really had no choice. We were just, we were on a dead end. And if we didn't change, we were in deep trouble. And by the way, that day he taught me that if you wait until you hurt enough that you have to, in other words, oh my gosh, I have no choice, I got to change. He said, I want you to know that you're always too late. He said, you've got to make change in your life, in your organization, before you hurt so bad you don't have any choice. He said, if you wait that long, you've missed your opportunity. But change happens, when we hurt enough that we have to. He said also, people change when they see enough that they're inspired to. Now this has a visualness about it, and I like that. He said, John, he said, you be the leader that inspires others to change. And we learn visually. That's how we learn. Stanford research says 89% of everything I know, and probably everything that you know and that you've learned, we learn visually. And so he said, as a leader, you really want to let your people see you change and be positive about it, and it inspires others. It inspires others to change. He said, thirdly, people change when they learn enough that they want to. In other words, it's the old, this is really an old, most of you are too young to remember this, but it was the light bulb, and I think it was Ford Motor Company, the light bulb would come on and they would have, it's a new idea. When we learn something that we didn't know, sometimes we say, wow, I didn't realize that. And oh, by the way, I think I need to make a change here. I just found a better route to get to my destination. So people change when they hurt enough they have to, but that's always too late. So you never want to get in that position. When they see enough that they're inspired to. One of the things that great companies do is the leaders pave the way for the change of the people because they model such a good attitude and possibilities of what that change will bring to the organization that it inspires the people.
If you have the privilege of leading a team or an organization, and you would love help with enhancing your leadership culture, maybe even developing some of your high potential leaders, just follow the link on the screen, and we would love to connect with you.
These are the expectations I expect of you. I expect you to be ready. When we mentor each other, I expect you to come absolutely ready. I expect you to improve. I don't want you just to learn things. I want you to improve your life. I want to see growth in your life. I expect you to earn my time. Go back to the Courtney McBath illustration. when he said, hey, our first time, this is what you said, this is what I heard, this is what I learned, this is what I did I do it right? Can I ask? You see, what was Courtney doing? He was earning my time. He was showing me that he was going to give me a return on my time. So that's what I expect from you. And by the way, you should have expectations from me also. And my expectations would be that I'll give you my best. I'll look out. I not only will give you my best, but I will look out for your very best interest. I want to mentor a life, not just teach a lesson. And by the way, the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team, that's exactly where they are. All they want to do is help you grow. They just want to help you get better. They just want to know that they had a little part in your life of the success that you have right now. That's all. That's the fulfillment. That's the joy that we get. So I wrap this up by just saying very simply, if I needed mentors to get me to where I am today, I'm just guessing, but I think my guess is pretty accurate. I'm just guessing you do too. I'm just guessing that if you had somebody speak into your life now and teach you and just put you on some very simple little leadership growth plan, that you would grow a lot bigger and better than you could ever do on your own. So I really hope those who invited you to be part of this teaching, they did so because they care for you. So I really hopes that every one of you, not some of you, every one of you will get right back to that person who invited you and say, let's get together. Let's get a game plan. Come on, I need you and you probably need me. So let's do it together. I believe that that's what's going to happen. And by the way, you should say that to the person that invited you into this program today. You should say that to them today. Do it now. So many times we say, well, I think that's a good idea. I intend to do that in the future. Remember, good intentions are worthless. Only good action. So act today. I don't know. Email them, call them. I don't know. Go see them. I don't know how you're going to contact them, but however you're going to contact them, say, let's go do something together and let's go make a difference together. And by the way, when you do that, you'll make me a happy old man. So thanks so much for your time. And it's always good to see you too. And thanks for helping us. And you just do such a nice job representing us. So thanks a lot. Instead of saying, you need to know what I want you to do, I look and I say, I need to know what you want. Wow, that's just totally different. And you say, John, how did you make that shift? I made that shift because I began to understand that I was leading by assumption. You see, you have to find your people before you can lead them. And so many times as a young leader, I wasn't finding my people at all. I was telling them what I wanted them to do. And I was never asking any questions. And what I was doing is I was leading by assumption. And that's, for a leader, that's horrible. Assumptions are that's the mother of all mess ups in leadership. When I assume that I know where you are on the team and what you're thinking, I'm already in trouble. I have to find you. And how do I find you? By asking questions. I have to find you, then I can lead you really well. I was being interviewed in New York a couple years ago when I was on a book tour, and the reporter asked me, he said, John, what's the greatest change you've ever made in your leadership? I said, well, the greatest change is when I was a young leader, I was giving directions. Here's what I want you to do. Here's where I want you to go, take off. And I said, I went from a directing leader to a connecting leader. And so now, instead of giving directions quickly, I ask questions quickly. Why? Because I want to find you. I want to find out exactly where you are. I want to create common ground. This was about a year and a half ago in Harvard Business Review. They said that the average lifespan of a bachelor's degree in college is now 5 years. Wow. 5 years after we get that bachelor's degree, Basically, everything that we're experiencing is new, and all of the knowledge and training and classes that we had, they have about a 5-year lifespan. I was reading the other day about the most important competencies that are needed right now in organizations, and they named 3: adaptability, communication skills, and learning agility. And as I looked at those 3, adaptability is all about leadership, the ability to adjust, and learning agility is all about leadership. Wow. And so the ability to move quickly, the ability to change courses, the ability to U-turn, to back up, to pivot, all of this is essential to our success. Now let's think of COVID-19 just for a second, because COVID-19 has gotten us all out of our comfort zone. That's why I'm talking to you right now. I'm out of my comfort zone. I mean, I travel the world speaking. I speak 100 and probably 20 days a year around the world. When COVID-19 hit, all of a sudden, it's all gone. It's not partially gone, it's all gone. The reason I'm in the studio today is because there had to be some adjustment going on there. So I had to start going to the studio instead of going to events, and there's just been a tremendous amount of change happening. It's okay, because all of us are out of our comfort zone. That's why when people say, how do we get back to normal? What they're really saying is, how do I get back to my comfort zone? Now, here's the thought that I want you to have, and I think this is going to begin to lift you and what you're doing in your community to help students. I hope this lifts you. Because of COVID-19 and all of us, we've been taken out of our comfort zone. Here's what I want you to know. Everything that you want and everything that you need, but you don't have it, okay? Get the picture. Everything you want, everything you need, but you don't have it, is outside of your comfort zone. In fact, that's why you don't have it. It's outside of your comfort zone. It's outside of my comfort zone. You see, if I want something and it's inside my comfort zone, I get it. If I need something and it's inside of my comfort zone, I get it. But if I want something or need something and it's outside of my comfort zone, all of a sudden I say, do I really want to jump the fence? Do I really want to change up my life that much? And often what I want and what I need, but I don't have, is not because it's impossible for me to have it. It's just that it's difficult and inconvenient for me to have it. And yet, in one full swoop, COVID-19 took us all out of our comfort zone. And all of a sudden, we had to ask ourselves, okay, how do we continue on? And how do we continue on in an effective way? You see, leadership is all about this incredible transitioning. This is powerful. Don't miss this. In fact, I have a coaching company. It's called the John Maxwell Team. It's really only 10 years old. And yet in our short 10 years, we've become the largest coaching company in the world. We have, I think maybe 37,000 coaches in 172 countries of the world. And people are always coming to me and they're saying, how did you get successful so quickly? How did you do so well? Well, we understand leader shifting. In fact, in our company, we have a what we call a cycle of success, and it's a cycle. It's not a journey. If I'm on a success journey, that means is I may be past something, and I keep going. And I tell them all the time, it's nothing but a picture book of what a leader looks like. I said, get those 21 qualities of a leader, and then when you do your interview, look for those different qualities, and when you find one, check it off, and after a while, you know whether you've got a potential leader or not. But at level 4, these leaders, they do a really good job with recruiting. Secondly, they do a real good job with positioning people. In other words, when they it's the Jim Collins stuff, okay? You got to get people on the right bus. Well, you not only need to get them on the right bus, but you need to get them in the right seat, okay? And they really understand the value of positioning people, and the fact that find out what their strength is and then put them there. And I tell leaders all the time, this is a totally different lecture, but I say when you're looking at your people and you're trying to position them, you have to ask 3 questions that start with an R. What are they required to do? What gives us the greatest return when they do it? The results. And thirdly, what's rewarding to them? And every leader needs to find out of every player. What do you have to do? What's required of you? What are you really good at? What gives you the great return? And what do you love? What's rewarding to you? And when you find those 3 things, you position them according to the 3 R's, and all of a sudden they begin to really produce well and begin to succeed well. There's one more quality of a level 4 leader, and that is they just equip really good. They're good equippers, okay? They just know how to help people become successful in the business. Now, I have the largest equipping organization in the world. We've trained over 6 million leaders in every country of the world. We're the only company that has done it that much. And we really know how to equip people. And I'm going to just take maybe 2 minutes, and I'm about to wrap up the talk. But there are 5 steps to equipping people really well. And they're simple steps, and every one of you can do them. But if you will do them, I will promise you'll begin to reproduce other people and reproduce other leaders under you. So let me give you those 5 steps. First of all, step 1 is I do it. And just simply put, before you train anybody to do anything, you have to do it yourself. Again, what did I say? People do what people see. So the first step of equipping somebody really is you do it yourself. Now, once that you have done it successfully yourself, which is really a level 3 leader, now you bring somebody alongside of you and you go to step number 2. Step 1 is I do it. Step 2, I do it and you're with me. And now we're going to spend some time and you're going to watch me do what I do really well. And the reason you're going to watch me is because leadership is visual. Stanford research says 89% of what you and I learn and know, we saw visually first. 10% audio, 1% through the other senses. And so I do it and you're with me. Well, you're with me. You're watching me. And after I, finish the sell, you're asking me questions. How did you do that? And why did you say that? And what made you go over there? And so it's I do it stage 1 or step 1, step 2 is I do it and you're with me. Step 3 is you do it. So when we think of mentoring today, think of the fact, this is what I do and this is who I am. And you don't separate the behavior, what you do, with the characteristics and the qualities and the values of a person. This is who I am. This is what I do. And in mentoring, you get the spirit of the person, who they are, and you get the teaching of the person by watching what they do. So here we go. A mentoring mindset has several characteristics. Number 1, a mentoring mindset has a passion for growth. The only guarantee that you and I are going to have a better tomorrow is that we're growing today. So when I talk to them about their future, and they say, well, I really hope things really work out well. And I look at them and say, hope's not a strategy. The only guarantee that John Maxwell has that next month will be better than this month is that I'm growing this month. And again, going back to one of my early mentors, Kurt Kampmeyer, when we were having breakfast that day, and he looked at me and he said, John, I just want you to know, I want you to understand that growth is not an accident. You need to grow. And when I did that, I said, I've got to get a growth plan, and I've got to get a mentor. I've got to get somebody that's further down the road than I am that can take me to a whole new level. And so I heard Earl Nightingale say one day that if I would spend 1 hour a day, 1 hour, on the same subject for 5 years, 1 hour every day, same subject for 5 years, that I could become an expert on that subject. And I was passionate in my 20s about leadership, so I said, I'm going to do that. I'm going to spend 1 hour every day on the subject of leadership for 5 years. And my thought, because I was just in my 20s, I was a little naive. My thought was, in 5 years, Earl Nightingale says I'll become an expert. So, wow, here, I'm on my way to becoming a leadership expert. So every day, an hour every day, 5 years, every day, I'm reading about leadership. I'm talking to leaders. I'm asking questions. I'm practicing leadership every day. And I had this idea because Earl Nightingale said 5 years I could become an expert. So I said, okay, I've got 5 years here. And so I literally started I had a countdown. Okay, wow, I finished year 1. I've only got 4 years left before I'm an expert. Wow, I finished year 2, 3 years. And, how long will it take? Well, how long will it take? Well, how long will it take? Well, 5 years. How long will it take? And then something happened just about in the middle of that 5-year period. And the beautiful thing that happened in my life was I was beginning to change. Because I was learning leadership, practicing leadership, meeting leaders, getting in leadership environments, and having opportunities to lead, about halfway into this 5-year journey, I realized I was a better leader and that I was growing and people were following me and my leadership was expanding, and I began to be incredibly overjoyed and fulfilled. And I thought, look at me. Wow, I'm becoming a leader. It was that day I quit asking the question, how long will it take? It was that day I changed, because now I was beginning to grow. That's the result of being mentored. You learn and you grow, and all of a sudden, you're better.
If you're like me, you watch a video like that from Maxwell Leadership and you just get inspired. I love how it's so practical. It just makes a lot of sense. But here's the challenge. We have to commit to each other. We have to commit to change, both in our personal lives and also our professional lives. Looking for more information about the Maxwell Leadership Certified Team? Follow the link below to learn more. We can't wait to hear from you and add value to your lives.